And that's how I look at it. What makes him get more respect than me? You my next door neighbor, you know what I tell him? You got yours from your family. I got mine from the ground up, from hard work and dedication.
Floyd Mayweather is one of the greatest ever. He's a brilliant defensive fighter. His speed, his boxing savvy. He's just a savant. He's just something special. No question about it. But I got to look at the Sugar Ray Leonards of the world.
Do it. Floyd's way is safe. Not in a punk, but it's like the safe way, like nothing ain't gonna go wrong. But that's how he fight. That's his characteristic.
Following Stephen A. Smith's dismissal of Floyd's past and his belief in Terence Crawford's ability to defeat Floyd, Floyd Mayweather becomes increasingly aggressive. Despite Mayweather's claims to be the greatest fighter of all time, Stephen A. asserts that Sugar Ray Leonard was superior. Additionally, he claims that Floyd was unable to dominate in higher divisions and that his greatest victories came at lightweight. Smith also claimed that the Canelo fight wasn't excellent, which infuriated Mayweather because he doesn't tolerate such criticism.
It's not just about your skill set. It's who you do it against.
Your level of competition. Is it possible that he's so far beyond his level of competition that he made it look easy?
Well, I think he did as a lightweight. When he went up to the welterweight division, not so much. You know what I'm saying? Now, if
taking out Canelo the way he took out.
Well, he just gave him a boxing lesson, but Canelo was 22 years old. See, I remember
That's an excuse, though. I don't like this, like he's 22, he's too young.
I will tell you this. Well, you know, you do have to take that into consideration.
The guy had 100 fights.
Well, let me explain.
22.
You have to take that into consideration when boxing is the issue. Now, if he got knocked on his ass, that's different. But when he simply got schooled when you swinging a punch and Floyd is tapping you on your shoulder saying, I'm behind you, that's a problem. You understand what I'm saying? That's just a skill, like, you know,
But we could credit Floyd with that.
Of course, I am crediting. I'm saying he's a brilliant boxer. You know, this Floyd knew how to move before you even threw the damn punch. You see what I'm saying? You got to be a veteran to know how to overcome that. You can't put a novice into the ring with Floyd Money Mayweather. You understand? He's going to school you. What I'm saying to you is that if you want to make an argument on Floyd Money Mayweather's half, which I'm not summarily dismissing, I would tell you it's this. Floyd Money Mayweather was undefeated for the last half of his career with one hand. He constantly broke his hand. He constantly broke his hand.
Based on Terence Crawford's bout with Canelo Alvarez, Dawood Bey conducted a thorough analysis of Mayweather and Crawford. In a hypothetical game, he stated that, as a fan, he would have chosen Crawford. But he added that the comparison must be fair. Many immediately declared that whatever Floyd had done was superior to Crawford's victory over Canelo. However, Bey pointed out that Canelo was still learning how to fight at the time and that Floyd had defeated him in their duel. He stated that since both men contributed something unique to the sport, it was incorrect to claim that Crawford was superior to Floyd. According to Bey, the truth lies somewhere in the center. While we should commend Crawford for his handling of Canelo, we should not overlook the equally important bout with Mayweather.
That Bud goes about it a little bit better than Floyd in this sense. Floyd will when Floyd fought Canelo, he was standing right there. He wasn't running and all of that. He wasn't doing all of the stuff that they say, oh, runner, Mayweather's a runner. He wasn't doing that versus Canelo. He was right there. And I can't even really remember Canelo catching him like that, like with nothing. With Bud, I could remember Canelo catching Bud a couple times, but Bud, gave him the, all right, put your foot out. What's up? Boxing turn, boxing turn, boxing turn. And was really standing there and giving it to him with another type of energy. The energy is more so all right, what's up? You can't beat me. Floyd energy be bop, bop, I'm better than you. You see what I'm saying? They don't really be respecting that all the time. They'll acknowledge it yo, I ain't gonna lie, he hard to catch. But they be nah, you didn't beat me up. Bud go about his fights in a way where as though the Mexican fan base gotta be I ain't gonna lie, Canelo, he hollered at you. He came at you too. He didn't just be better than you. He was better, and then he was all right, I'm gonna come at you. And I think they really respect that. Shit, I respect it. I don't think it's not. I think the less you get hit, the better. I'm always gonna take it that way. So, you know what I'm saying? As a boxing fan, the kind of boxing fan that I am, I would have leaned towards Floyd's performance, but Bud's performance was If I'm a casual fan, I'd rather watch the way Bud do it.
Buse Ennis, the trainer, spoke passionately about Terrence Crawford's role in the sport. Crawford has repeatedly demonstrated that he is among the finest of his generation, and that he is willing to take chances regardless of who he is fighting. He said in response to detractors who question his achievements. Additionally, he claimed that Crawford never backed down from risky conflicts. Unlike many of his peers, he believes that Crawford performs best when he is in danger. Crawford made a name for himself in the boxing community by always pushing himself to be the best. He said that rather than trying to minimize Crawford's accomplishments, people ought to acknowledge that he is one of the most successful, courageous, and adaptive fighters in history.
I think he could have got the stoppage. He'll tell you that if he had to sit down a little bit more. But I tell you, Terrence can fight and he can box. And he can fight. He'll fight this side. He take chances, man. You know what I mean? And that's how you be great, man. And he one of the greatest out there now. I think he's great. I think he's the best out there right now in that division. You know what I mean?
What's left?
For Terrence?
Yeah.
If I was Terrence, I would retire. That's what I would do. He did everything, man. He's done everything, man. You know what I mean? You know how many titles he don't want? All that stuff, you know what I mean? I think I'll go off one in the sunset, man. You know what I mean? You don't need no more money. You know what I mean?
Crawford's longtime trainer, Brian Bulick McIntyre, believes his boxer has a few big fights left in him. Crawford may fight 2 or 3 more times before considering retirement, according to Bomac. He discussed the notion of Crawford putting on 160 pounds, stating that it would be about more than just titles. It would also be about continuing an already worthy legacy of being inducted into the Hall of Fame. Bomac made it clear that Crawford had already made history by becoming the best in many weight divisions and winning bouts that altered the rules of the sport. However, the team and the fans are thrilled about the prospect of adding more titles to the upper divisions. Crawford is no longer seeking clearance, he claimed. Rather, by accepting challenges that only the best fighters accept, he is establishing himself as one of the greatest fighters of all time.
The second time. They can't take it away from him, neither.
Does this one mean more to you than the other ones?
Yeah, it does.
Yeah.
It gives us the opportunity as a team to go into the Hall of Fame. Instead of a fighter going in there, instead of a coach going in there, it gives us a better chance of going there as a team.
Well, congrats on that. I know that means a lot to you and the team.
Definitely.
You know, I asked Bud this after the fight 2 weeks ago. Would he consider this his signature win? He said, yeah, one of them. Do you think that was his signature win of his career?
Well, the last fight?
Yeah, the Canelo one.
Oh, hell yeah.
Yeah.
Because he was the underdog. Everybody thought that, you know, he was going to get beat.
What's up?
That he was going to get beat. It surprised me.
So what's next for Bud? What do you want to see him do?
I just want to see him, you know, spend time with his family because, you know, training for a fight, you be gone a long time. You're going away from the family. And it could take a toll on you after a while. So,
as his trainer, do you feel like he should just sell off into the sunset after this monumental
well,
win?
you know what? He made it look so easy. Shit, you know what I'm saying? Shit, got 2-3 more in him and shit. You know what I'm saying? Training camp will try harder. You know what I'm saying?
Timothy Bradley opened up about the impact Terrence Crawford had on him. According to him, young boxers usually struggle with ambiguity, particularly when critics try to make them feel awful about their development. Crawford, however, demonstrated the power of perseverance and drive. Crawford consistently disproved those who initially had doubts about him. Through his ring performances, Bradley emphasized how Crawford set an example for the following generation by doing what many believed was unachievable, winning numerous uncontested titles across various categories. Crawford is more than just a winner in Bradley's eyes. He is a symbol of strength, faith, and the ability to overcome criticism through hard work. In addition to becoming a champion, Crawford is now viewed by young fighters as a role model who personifies the spirit of perseverance.
And the man that you have become, you're a true inspiration to the youth, man. Anybody that's troubled, any troubled kid out there, man, they can look at you and say, hey, man, I got a fighting chance to get myself out the situation. All I got to do is make that choice. That's what you did, Crawford. You made that choice, man. You made that choice to change, bruh. You know, you saw going down, man, years ago, man, in 2008, man, when that bullet came through that window, you knew you had to do something or you will end up 6 feet under, bro. You know, so that courage that you had, man, and that will that you had and that mindset of change, man, and the gym, you know, grooming you and turning you into a man, because that's what boxing does. See, people don't understand, man, that boxing is more than just throwing punches. You know, boxing teaches you discipline. You know, it teaches you love for people, love for others, man. You know, working together. You know, you're there constantly every single day, man. You know, spending time there perfecting a craft, man. Perfecting yourself, understanding yourself, learning more about yourself each and every single day. You push it inside the gym. You know, boxing is more than just throwing punches, man. You know.
The journey of Floyd Mayweather extended beyond boxing. Mayweather purposefully created two personas, Money Mayweather and Pretty Boy Floyd, both of which attracted public attention. As Oladipo pointed out, Pretty Boy Floyd took out a lot of people in highlight reels and was a daring risk-taker early in his career. After he mastered defensive boxing and turned every fight into a global sensation, Money Mayweather went on to become the greatest businessman because he was able to market himself and generate revenue via pay-per-view. He rose to fame outside of the sport. According to Oladipo, Floyd was a genius both inside and outside of the ring and developed a commercial strategy that contemporary boxers today try to emulate. Floyd became more than just a fighter by fusing entertainment with technical skill. He established the new economic era of boxing and became a cultural hero.
I'm sorry. He's a genius. He is a fucking... You know, when I get bored with today's crop of boxers, and Terrence, to be fair, has kind of helped me out of my boredom, but sometimes I just go on YouTube and I watch the 24/7s and then I watch the fight. I'm not joking. I watch the whole fucking episodes and then I watch the fight. And my guy is a genius. A genius. There will always be an argument, oh, he should have fought that person then. And I get it. I get it. All right? It's kind of the argument you can't throw at Muhammad Ali, right? You could throw that argument at Floyd. But dude, unbeaten is unbeaten. Unbeaten is unbeaten. Multi-weight world champion is multi-weight world champion. Do you know what I mean? I've never seen a boxer so like, I'm going to work you out, and then when I work you out, you're done. Shall I repeat that? I'm going to work you out, and when I work you out, you're done. And Floyd had this thing where first 2 rounds, you think, oh shit, man, this guy's in this fight, and then he works you out. And then he works you out. Pretty Boy Floyd was better than Money, but Money Floyd had obviously the fights, right?
Despite Crawford's shocking victory over Canelo, there is much discussion about what will happen to him next. To preserve his legacy, some close to him, including his employees, have suggested that he consider retiring now. Crawford's supporters claim that he has already accomplished a great deal and doesn't need to prove anything more. Others in boxing, however, are not happy and keep disparaging his accomplishments, saying he ought to quit before his reputation deteriorates. Many people believe Crawford still has a lot to offer, so the decision has created some conflict. Fans want to see him take on more well-known opponents, and his prior fights have not gotten worse. Even if Crawford decides to retire, his reputation as one of the greatest will endure. Regardless of his actions, his achievements are irreversible.
The fact that Terrence Crawford did what he did against Canelo Alvarez, Terrence Crawford made himself the face of boxing, and he made it look easy. He made the Errol Spence fight look easy. That was supposed to be the toughest test of his career. I thought it was. The whole world thought it was. It was the easiest fight he had at welterweight. I thought, but I've been saying for years that he's going to easily beat Canelo Alvarez, and he did. But many people expected Canelo to knock him out. That wasn't the case. With that said, now people are trying to throw, he's 38. Tomorrow, Terrence Crawford will be 38 years old. He's a 5-division champion. If he wants to stick around, like Terrence Crawford stated, okay, Terrence Crawford stated, if I do stick around, I'm not dropping down no further than 160 pounds. If he stays in boxing, I say he have 2 more fights. Fight Janibek, who's the unified champion. Hopefully call Sadamas and Lara fight and unify the belts. 2 fights at 160, pad the stats, become a 6-division champion and a 4-division undisputed champion. Cool. Other than that, Terrence Crawford needs to retire.
Interview 8 regarding the Mayweather vs. Crawford bout. Trainer Robert Garcia shared his thoughts. He assured fans that although Mayweather's accomplishments and record are unparalleled, he never achieved the status of undisputed champion, which was attained by both Pacquiao and Crawford. Crawford's record in this field is historically significant, Garcia concurred. However, when comparing the two, he still favored Mayweather. Garcia asserted that Mayweather's timing, defense, and ring experience would overwhelm even a skilled boxer like Crawford. Garcia claimed that Mayweather's ability to render opponents worthless made him a nightmarish opponent. Although Garcia acknowledges Crawford's achievements, he believes that Mayweather is superior to almost everyone else, even current champions, because of his mastery of the fundamentals and ring strategies.
Man, he doesn't need it anymore.
With his accomplishments, the only man to ever do 3 weight divisions, undisputed. Is he now a part of the greatest of all time conversation? And not of this era, but of all time.
Definitely is the greatest, one of the greatest of all times. You know, there's still greats out there. There's still, you know, his era or last era, you know, with the Mayweathers, with the Pacquiaos. I think he's, you know, already accomplished more. Pacquiao was 8 division, so we could argue there because Pacquiao was, 8 division is almost impossible, and he did it. Mayweather never became undisputed. He's a 5 division champion, but never became undisputed. Never really followed that unification, stuff like that. So I think when it comes to accomplishments, I think he's already done more.
Greg Hackett contributed to the discussion by drawing comparisons between Crawford's and Floyd's battles with Canelo. When Floyd faced Canelo, he was already a full-fledged boxer, he claimed, with unparalleled poise and composure. Crawford's strategy is more aggressive and adaptable, Hackett continued, but it lacks the flawless execution that Floyd displayed over the course of 12 rounds. No one in boxing history, he claimed, has ever been as adept at self-defense or ring management as Mayweather. Although Hackett acknowledges what Crawford has accomplished, he claims that Mayweather's definition of domination was quite different. He finds Crawford's explosiveness to be incredible, but Floyd's deft move against Canelo was almost flawless. Stephen A. Smith hailed Crawford's victory over Canelo as one of the most entertaining bouts in recent memory. Crawford asserted that he was the underdog facing a more formidable opponent. Nevertheless, he gave the impression that the fight was one-sided. Crawford, according to Smith, not only displayed skill, but also provided viewers with a memorable performance. According to him, boxing needs athletes like Crawford who can blend skill with enjoyment. Crawford's performance, he claimed, demonstrated that he is not only a talented champion, but also an entertainer, who can sustain the sport by providing spectators with thrilling moments in the ring.
But the biggest props of the night goes to Terrence Crawford, who did not disappoint. He was supposed to be the smaller man. He was supposed to be the weaker man. He was supposed to be the man that was going to spend the entire night on his bicycle, running for his damn life because Saul Canelo Alvarez was coming his way. That is not what happened. What happened instead, ladies and gentlemen, was a masterclass in boxing by Terrence Crawford. Now, to me, the fight, some people were saying it was a severely lopsided and stuff like that. I'm not going for that. I'm not feeling that at all. It wasn't like that at all, okay?
Veteran journalist Dan Raphael took a long-term perspective on Crawford's career. Crawford doesn't need to fight anymore, he claimed, to establish his place in boxing history. Crawford's record is unquestionable. He has triumphed over top-tier opponents, remains undefeated across various divisions, and is widely recognized for his unparalleled dominance. Raphael recommended that soldiers now focus on preserving their legacy, rather than attempting to prove themselves. He believed that if Crawford continued to fight meaningless conflicts, he might lose all he had already accomplished. Instead, he believes Crawford should be content with his reputation as one of the sport's top players. His record is filled with outstanding accomplishments, so whether he continues to fight or gives up now, he will always be remembered as a legend.
But he stood in the pocket, like he's not moving anywhere from him. He's using his head moving, he's not being stupid, but he's not necessarily moving away from Canelo. Like you said, he's walking the, quote unquote, bigger man down and forcing the action rather than going off, reacting to Canelo's attacks. So I think it was such an impressive display. But it sort of begs the question now, when you've a 3-time undisputed champion, and I know money's important, financials, we always talk about that. His legacy is intact regardless. we'll start with Terence. What does a Terence Crawford do now? Like, what's the next thing that he does? Because you look around and go, is the only way that he really gets that, maybe that ultimate chance if he goes up again? And do you say, you know, what do you do?
I don't quit. Yeah, I mean, you know, he was asked those questions at the press conference. He made two things clear. One, he's not going back to 154, and I say that because some people suggested about possibly pursuing a fight with Ennis, who has his debut in the weight class coming up.
Yeah.
That's probably unlikely. He's not going to go back down in weight. And I mean, no disrespect to Ennis, but Ennis is a guy that's known within the diehards of boxing. He's not in any way known beyond the boundaries of the hardcore boxing fan. So I don't know if that makes sense for a lot of different reasons for him. Not to say I wouldn't, as a boxing fan, enjoy watching the fight. So, but I don't think he's going back to 154. He was asked about like a Benavides at 175, and he acknowledged like that guy's really big. I mean, that's maybe a bridge too far. He already went up to 2 weight classes to fight Canelo at 68. So it feels to me like he can either stay at 168 and defend this championship and look to the same types of names that were being thrown around as the types of guys that would have been in the mix for Canelo had he won the fight.
That concludes the video for today. Stay tuned for more updates. I'll see you later.